John chapter 1, verse 14. Now, if you're never going to understand this if you don't start at the very first video in chapter 1 and go down. You'll never understand anything this is saying. But I know 50% of the people that listen to this channel, that you skip around a lot to only the things you want to hear. Well, that's only going to get you all screwed up. If you're not willing to do the work, it's not going to benefit you. Verse 14, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. There you go. The Word was God. So God became flesh. Well, who became flesh? Jesus Christ. Oh, okay. So it's saying Jesus Christ was God and he became flesh. The flesh of man like us. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us for 33 years. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. We have seen the glory of God in the Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. Now, grace, Jesus Christ wants to give you grace and mercy. Jesus is not against you. You think someone who would come to earth, who actually created you, who owns you, then would come to earth in the flesh, then would die on a cross, then would teach us all these miraculous things, then would show mercy, heal the blind, the sick, the lame, and then be allowed to be, scourged and whipped and beaten and die, nailed to a cross, die on a cross for your behalf, my behalf, and then forgive the people who died on the cross. And then on the third day, rise in again into power and glory, and then send the Holy Spirit to live inside you, and then come back and forth throughout the earth, visiting people all the time. Does that sound like a God who is against you? No. You know what salvation is? Saved, S-A-V-E-D. I needed to be saved. You need to be saved from yourself. The way you live, you're destroying yourself. Jesus came to save us from ourselves. He didn't come down here because we were doing fantastic. He came down here because we were destroying our souls eternally. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus has grace. He says, I have compassion for your miserable position eternally. Jesus sees everyone on the road, the wide road to destruction and hell. Jesus sees you are on the road to hell. Jesus sees you are currently on the road to eternal damnation. And he did all those things to save you. But you keep rejecting and saying, no, I don't believe. I don't believe. I don't believe. No, 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 no. Why would you reject someone who created you and is now trying to repair you? Well, pride. You think somehow at the end of your life, you're going to get yourself to heaven. That's what you truly believe. You truly believe. I know this happens with a lot of women. I've spoke to a lot of women in the restaurant business because, most waitresses are women. So, back in the old day, hardly any men were. I remember in 1990, a guy was a waiter, and he was the only waiter in the whole building, like 30 waitresses. But in 1990, he made like $500 a week in tips. He was rolling in the money. Of course, minimum wage back then was like $2.30 for wait staff back in Iowa. And I see a lot of women who say, well, I believe in karma. I believe in yin and yang. I believe in good works. I'll be saved through my children. That's not what the Bible teaches. I've talked to 100 or more waitresses about Jesus. I say, well, the Bible doesn't teach good works. Now, I've had some women say, you mean I've been trying to get myself and all I got to do is say yes and follow Jesus? They say, they get it right away. They say, why have I been working so hard my whole life when I could have just said yes to Jesus and lived the easier life? It's much easier. Well, it's easier to say yes to God than spend 70 years on earth trying to work your way to heaven. That sounds incredibly, overwhelmingly ridiculous and exhausting. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, this is the one I spoke about when I said, he who comes after me has surpassed me because he was before me. Out of his fullness we have all received grace in the place of grace already given. We have all received grace in place of grace already given. You see, the grace is already there. The offer is already there. The salvation is already there. You know how when you go and you're in a contest and they say, sign your name and stuff and for a chance to win this prize? The prize is already there. How many people walk up and say, I'm not going to fill that out because I never win? Well, you don't win if you don't fill out the little form with your name and phone number so they can call you and say you won. Salvation is already there. Grace is already there. The gift of salvation is already there. It's already been offered. It's already sitting there like the prize. You just have to say yes. But how many people say no? It's there. You'll never get to Judgment Day and be able to claim that salvation. You didn't know it was there. It was already there. It's here now. As soon as the cross happened, the offer has been here for 2,025 years and about 3.5 months. It's already here. It's like they're giving away free ice cream cones. You just have to hurry up and go get one before they all melt. And the offer is null and void. One day the door is going to close and that offer will not be available. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth through Jesus Christ. So they claimed their salvation was through Abraham and Moses. And Jesus saying, no, even Abraham and Moses needed salvation. You cannot be saved through another man or another woman or a false god or an idol. You can only be saved. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. They're telling you specifically who you have to go to be saved. It's not Muhammad. It's not Jehovah Witness. It's not a Mormon. It's not, Muslim. It's not, Hindi. It's not, snake charmers. It's saying there's only one way to receive salvation through Jesus Christ. No one has seen God but the one and only Son, who is himself God, and who his closest relationship with the Father has made him known. It just said no one has seen God except the Son, who is God. You can only be saved through the Son of God, who is God. It makes perfect sense. But are you going to say yes, or are you going to say no? Continually say no. But the offer, the prize is sitting there. It's on the table. It's sitting there. It's in the middle of the room. It's the elephant in the room. It's already there.